Okay, so next question I did is this. I want to do, and I want to make sure that you understand this question. Is 10-16. It's a very logical question. 10-16 on page number 451. So now they're asking is in part A they're asking prepare a responsibility report for the sports equipment division, and then it says part B, prepare for the same division, assuming it's an investment center. So in this problem, the good thing is that you're getting exposure to both responsibility report for a profit center and also for a investment center. Again, what this question is just like the last question. You just accept. Now you're gonna also list sales, so you're going to prepare budget versus actual, budget, actual, and difference, right? So now you're going to put sales, put variable costs first, and create the idea of this margin, right? Because you need to get sales minus all these costs. Which are controllable. You can list them like variable costs first and then fixed costs, but make sure that you're comparing apple to apple in terms of cost of goods sold for variable for budget is compared to the actual for budget. So you have to just do some cherry picking, get the right information, compare them, and the only thing that you need to worry about in this problem is make sure in the question, I'm sure you have a chance to read this question. It says here non-controllable fixed. Just don't include that, because anything that's non-controllable is not part of the responsibility report, right? That's the main storyline of this chapter, of this piece of this chapter, right? So if you list them all, you're gonna be creating this. I've also put down the solution manual, and I did the same. I did the cheating from the solution manual. Basically, you just list these variable costs and fixed costs, and eventually what you will get is a contribution margin, right, for this for this. So I went through this problem, and I find that all you need to do is list variable costs and fixed costs, and eventually what you will get is the contribution margin. So now if we prepared this report for a profit center, and now let's say if I am a manager of this profit center and I'm sitting with my manager, right? My manager has made me responsible. I'm a manager, my senior manager, who's my boss, has made me responsible for this company in terms of sales and expenses, right? So all I did was I listed the sales and all these expenses. Okay, don't worry about contribution margin or controllable margin. These are just fancy words. Basically, you list your sales, and you list all your controllable expenses, and make sure in a row it's you're comparing the budget with actual and putting if it's a favorable or unfavorable. In the first case, for example, your sales in a budget is 900 while your actual is 880. Of course your sales is lower than the budget. It's an unfavorable variance of by 20,000. Your rest is variable costs. Okay, so put cost of goods sold 440,000. 408,000 is your actual. Budget versus actual, the difference is 32,000 favorable, because your actual cost is lower than your budget cost. So same thing is selling and admin under variable. So you can put contribution margin, but I was thinking even if you don't and you just list all your expenses, which are controllable, and don't include the uncontrollable, non-controllable, right? As long as you don't include, you will list all your expenses below, and if you take out from sales minus all this, what you're gonna get is your margin, controllable margin, right? This is something that you can control. And so your budgeted controllable margin is 210, your actual controllable margin is 240,000, and your difference is 30,000 favorable, right? This is the idea. It's just let's put it in the right format in terms of putting the you take out the variable cost, it's called contribution margin, then you put down so that's the contribution margin, then you put out the controllable fixed cost, list the two, and then what you have is controllable margin and not contribution margin. It just says margin, right? So you list them, and that's the good report for a profit center. If I'm a manager and I'm meeting with my boss, this report should be there because I'm responsible for managing sales and expenses, and that's all there is. Anything which is non-controllable should not be part of it because I don't make decisions there. If I'm a manager of this profit center, I don't have any saying in that. So why should I be responsible for putting for having it in my report? I should not be answerable to anything that happens in that under those costs. That's the idea here. And for the part B, now it just adds on to this information. It says there that you have your operating costs, which is